So the last 4 years, we've been playing primetime games versus the Ravens. And it never ends up being in Cincinnati. It always ends up being in Baltimore, which obviously is a very tough place to play. And the schedule makers always find a way to make an excuse on why this happens. Because it's not that they hate us. Clearly it is. Speaking of that, shout out to James for posting this article on Sports Illustrated. As always, James over there at Cincinnati Bengals Talk. We absolutely love him on this channel. Mike North is the vice president of broadcasting and scheduling for the NFL. He joined the Ups and Adams show, and we're going to listen to that in a second. He says, wave a magic wand. We would have played Ravens-Bengals in Cincinnati on Thursday night. It's time, North said. Then why didn't you? You know what I really hate is when someone who has all the control and all the say-so will come out and say something like this where it's like, oh, yeah, we definitely, if we could, we would have. Like, what do you mean if you could? You have the control. It's your job. You decided not to. And I hate that about when those situations happens. Like, someone who has all the control and all the say-so are the ones that are like, oh, if only that happened. Like, yeah, if only you chose to make that happen. Those are the kind of things that down the stretch could just tinker with and what's the impact. With the Ravens having a road Thursday night game in Miami on Amazon, you couldn't then have a second road Thursday. So it ended up with a Baltimore versus Cincinnati. Yes, in Baltimore, one more year. I'm sure Bengals fans are disappointed. But like I heard you say, go to Baltimore and ruin their Thanksgiving. Nothing better. Again, I understand, back-to-back Thursday night games, whatever. Why not just move Miami's game then? Why not make Miami's game a different week and then have us play in Cincinnati instead of Baltimore? Like, again, you created an obstacle, and then now you're trying to say, well, we can't change the schedule because, we had to make it happen because there was an obstacle. You created the obstacle, and now you're banking off that being an excuse on why the obstacle is there. You could have easily made Miami not a Thursday night game, right? And I get it, okay, whatever, Miami, Baltimore, that's an Amazon game. They have that game. Okay, make it a different week. You're telling me you couldn't make Baltimore or Miami a different week? There's 18 weeks. You could definitely make that a different week. Obviously, week 18, there is no Thursday night game, so you could have made it week 18, but you could have made it any other week. And not only that, you gave them, I don't know. That's annoying. They are getting 2 Thursday night games in a row, but one's away, one at home. And they're saying that they can't do 2 on the road. Which is stupid. Completely stupid. But you could have done something else. You could have moved something. I know they can't move the home opponents versus the away opponents, but you could have made it different. You really could have, but whatever. Let's continue. The Bengals will host the Ravens 2 weeks later. Yeah, not only that, they put us like Ravens 1 week off with another team, and then Ravens again, which is stupid. Like, that's very tough matchups. It's time they're due, go to Baltimore and ruin their Thanksgiving. Yeah, and if it was up to the schedule makers, that would never happen because they do everything possible to try to ruin it for us. So, let me go ahead and pull this up real fast. By the way, a little side note, these are just dates for when players sign their contracts. I use this to like block off half the screen, but it's literally just dates on when players sign their contracts for our first round picks because people keep getting upset because Shamar Stewart hasn't signed yet, and these are the dates of when these players did sign. Let's listen to what the guy had to say.
Ravens, Bengals. I heard you talking earlier about Ravens Bengals. Yeah, wave a magic wand. We would have played Ravens Bengals in Cincinnati on a Thursday night. It's time. It's due. They did get the Steelers at home on a Thursday night. Those are the kind of things that down the stretch could you just tinker with, and what's the impact? With the Ravens having a road Thursday game in Miami on Amazon, you couldn't then have a second road Thursday. So it ended up with Baltimore Cincy, yes, in Baltimore one more year. I'm sure Bengals fans are disappointed, but like I heard you say, go to Baltimore and ruin their Thanksgiving. Nothing better. If you can't win, ruin their season.
Wait, hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up. I need to take that in. He said, if you can't win, ruin their season. What that would imply is that he's suggesting we're not going to make the playoffs. Right? Because if you can't win, right? So meaning if you're not going to be a playoff team, go ruin someone else this season. So for example, let's say you go into week 18, right? And you are in a situation where, okay, let me fix my mic. You go in week 18, you're in a situation where you're out of the playoffs, you don't have a chance to make the playoffs, but there's a team on the fringe, right? And let's say it's your divisional opponent, and they're right about to get in the playoffs. They need to beat you. Well, if you beat them, then they get knocked out of the playoffs. So that saying he just said is, if you're not going to win, meaning if you're not going to make the playoffs, at least ruin their season. First off, Thanksgiving's like week what? 11 and 12 or 13 or whatever. That's to suggest we would be out of the playoffs at that point is just idiotic, to be honest. I don't think many people call it that, but yeah, that's just an idiotic thing to say. Let's listen to the last 7 seconds in case.
Well said. I love that. Don't listen to anybody complaining.
We
I
listen
hope
to
you like.
everybody.
Oh no.
Loki also has a Michael Sam jersey in the back. Kind of just realized that.
Please.
Anyway, but even Kay didn't really pick that up. That is a really bad take. That's a really bad take. But again, the NFL hates us. They do. They hate us. And they're like, oh, don't complain. We're going to complain because you could easily have solved this. They can't play 2 games on the road. Okay, cool. Make Miami game not before Thanksgiving. Make them play the Ravens Thursday Night Football another week. So that you could finally not fluff us over and have us play in Baltimore for the 4th straight year on a primetime game. You do it because you want to have that as a schedule, and now you're using it as a fallback option. Frustrating. It is what it is, though. I'm not surprised.